In October 2025, a high school freshman walked into her library, picked up a copy of Gendered Queer, and opened it to the inside cover. There, stamped across the title page in red ink, was one word: withdrawn. According to the Detroit Free Press on October 10, 2025, the school board had ordered the book removed. That scarlet stamp is more than an administrative note. It is a brand of shame, a signal that some stories are too dangerous for students to read. This is not an isolated case. The American Library Association reported on October 7, 2025, that more than 4,200 titles were banned or challenged last year, the highest number ever recorded. And as the New York Times revealed on September 21, 2023, most of these removals targeted authors of color, LGBTQ voices, and stories about race or gender. Book bans aren't protecting children. They're protecting political agendas. They're stripping students of their right to encounter diverse voices and turning libraries into battlegrounds for ideology. Unless we confront the problem, the causes, and the solutions to this crisis, we risk handling the next generation not just empty shells, but an emptier democracy. The problem with book bans are threefold. First, their share scale. Second, their chilling effect. And third, their damage to democracy itself. First, the scale is staggering. The American Library Association's 2025 report confirmed over 4,200 titles were banned or challenged in this year alone. That is the largest wave of censorship. And as the New York Times showed in 2023, most of these bans targeted marginalized voices. It's not just censorship, it's erasure of identity. Second, bans create fear. PEN America in 2025 warns that libraries are now preemptively stripping shelves, while teachers abandon whole lesson plans to avoid punishment. In South Carolina 2025, a case from ACLU showed that students and libraries even had to sue their superintendent when sweeping rules emptied whole sections of libraries. Educators are forced into silence before they speak. Third, bans corrode democracy. USA Today on October 10, 2025, warned that this censorship is Orwell. A library is supposed to be a marketplace of ideas. When shelves are gutted, democracy becomes hollow. Empty shelves don't just silence stories. They normalize silence itself. To see why bans spread so quickly, picture a South Carolina school board meeting earlier this year. PBS reported in April 2025 that parents shouted, "Protect our children," while administrators quietly voted to strip dozens of titles. This scene tells the truth. Censorship doesn't spread naturally. It's engineered. The causes are twofold. First, political agendas that weaponize culture wars. And second, intimidation that silence educators. First, political agendas are steering these bans. According to CNN on July 30th, 2025, President Donald Trump declared that the US will be woke no longer. That rhetoric trickles into school boards and legislations where bills target books on race, gender, or sexuality. The New York Times has already shown that books most frequently banned mirrors the identities attacked in campaign speeches. In other words, bans are not about children. They're about power. Second, intimidation forces compliance. PEN America in 2025 documented libraries harassed with lawsuits and threats. The ACLU of South Carolina reported in 2025 students who had challenged censorship in court were warned that their activism might be punished. Students in libraries aren't just silenced by policy, they're silenced by fear. When political ambitions fuse with intimidation, censorship becomes standard procedure. And once silence is normalized, every voice, student, or teacher becomes extendable. If censorship is fueled by politics and fear, then the solutions must be practical enough for all of us. Earlier this year, in 2025, PBS profiled students in Texas who started a banned book club. They meet weekly to read titles their school board had once tried to erase. That is how resistance begins. Not in courtrooms, but in communities. The solutions are twofold. First, protect access locally. And second, amplify awareness nationally. First, protect access locally. Public libraries, according to the American Library Association's 2025 update, remains the front line against censorship. And you don't need a law degree to help out. Check out a banned book this week. If it's missing, request it. Donate challenged books to your community or library or youth center. Join or form a banned book club. Each small act chips away at silence. Second, amplify awareness nationally. A PEN America tracker in 2025 provides free data. Share it online, post it in group chats, and organize read-ins where banned books are read out loud in public spaces. Even signing a petition signals that silence won't win. To make this easier, I've added a URL link down below of this video where you can find a Google Doc with the PEN America tracker, a list of banned book titles, and a starter guide for action. Solutions don't need to be heroic. They just need to be collective. When we defend shelves locally and amplify awareness nationally, banned books remain read books. In Michigan, a teenager opens her library book to find a scarlet stamp declaring it withdrawn. That word isn't about protecting children. It was about silencing them. Book bans erase identities, punish educators, and hollow out democracy. History shows that censorship begins quietly, with a stamp, a missing shelf, a missing story. But silence isn't destiny. It can be broken by one act of defiance, one book at a time. Withdrawn should never be the last word. Not for our shelves. Not for our democracy. Thank you.